In this video, I want to show you how to replace your serpentine belt on this 5.4 liter Triton V8. So let's get started. Now in the video, I'm removing the air intake as well as this plastic cover up top, the engine cover, and you don't need to remove anything else. However, I will be removing the fan shroud and the fan just so I can get a better visual for you. Otherwise, you will not be able to see much. Although you can do the job, there's plenty of room to replace this belt with everything else still there, fan and fan shroud and everything. So you don't have to take all of that off. I will, only for camera purposes. Let's get this air intake out of here. Lift up on this. Underneath, you'll see the wire. Follow it and unplug the mass airflow sensor. There we go. And I'm trying to remove this whole unit, so I'm just going to unbolt the clamp on the throttle body and take this out as one whole assembly. There is another connector over here. Unplug that. And to actually get to the throttle body, I need to remove this cover, 3 8mm bolts. Remove these 2 hoses. And then unscrew this clamp with an 8mm socket. Now you can wiggle this whole assembly, pull it right off the throttle body, pick it up and set it aside. This right here is the tensioner. As you can see, it has a 1/2 inch drive in the head of it, right where the pulley sits. So I'm using a long breaker bar because this tensioner is pretty stiff. Go ahead and remove the belt off of anything. Whatever you can reach, let go of the tensioner and remove your tool. And now we can remove the belt. Take a note of how it's routed. I'm going to show you in the video once it's time to reinstall it, but it's always a good idea to take a picture if you don't have the diagram. It's time to put the serpentine belt back, and to do that, I'm going to show you a diagram on the screen. That way it's going to be a lot easier for you to figure out how it goes, other than just looking at the video. But basically, I'm going to start around the crankshaft here, around the harmonic balancer. From here, I mean, the sequence doesn't really matter. It's just a matter of preference. I'm just going to go around clockwise, follow the belt clockwise, making sure that it is on the right pulleys, on the splines and everything. So from here, I'm going to go up and around the water pump, then down and underneath the power steering. Then from the power steering, it goes all the way up over the alternator, and then you have to squeeze it through. Oh, here we go. This is what happens when you have a new belt. And then from here, you actually have to squeeze it in between the tensioner and the idler so it can reach down to the AC, kind of like this. And then you fish it down here. I'm trying to hold tension on it at the same time. All right, so this is it right here. You just have to put a 1/2 inch breaker bar in the tensioner, release tension, and then slip it onto the AC compressor. Or actually, if I take it off the alternator here, I might be able to get this on the AC easier, and then I'll have an easier time putting it on the alternator as opposed to the AC compressor all the way down there. And popped off again. So let's get this breaker bar, push down on this to release tension, slide it up on here, and remove the breaker. Well, don't remove the breaker bar yet. What you want to do is, with it still on, make sure that the belt is positioned properly on all of the pulleys. The ribbed ones, make sure that it's sitting in all the ribs, otherwise the grooves will cut through the belt as it's riding on sideways, crooked. Everything seems perfect, so now you can remove the breaker bar. And when we first start the vehicle, I'm gonna shut it off after a few seconds and double check the belt to make sure that it is properly routed, because like I said, if it's not 100% seated, it will jump off and create all sorts of damage. So, air filter housing with the rest of the intake here. Slide that over the throttle body, just like this. You got 2 hoses that went in here. Let's tighten up this clamp. Make sure this is pushed on all the way when you tighten the clamp. Nice and snug. These hoses are in. Reconnect the sensor here. And on this side, you have the mass airflow sensor. Reconnect that. Make sure it clicks, secure the harness, and secure the air filter housing. With everything back together, go ahead and run the vehicle and make sure everything is good. Double check the belt to make sure it's on all the pulleys, and then take it for a road test.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.